Well, how do you do?
A Rudy do.
No,
No?
don't do that. I don't have a cold open, Spencer.
No?
All I have is a reading update.
Yeah?
I'm on like page 340 of Jerusalem now.
That's progress.
Why is it taking so long? I've been reading it every fucking day. I forget I think the last week when we recorded, I was at either 1 something or 240 or somewhere. I don't know. So I made like 100-page progress. It's, well, more than that, but not 200 pages.
No. You did. I don't think you did as good on Saturday as you originally thought you were going to.
I was doing all right because my plan, I don't remember if I said on air or not, I was going to read Jerusalem for 8 hours straight, like a day job, to see if I could get like at least almost halfway through. And I did 4 hours, and I made it to like, I think 100 pages in or something.
Yeah, it was
To be
close.
fair, like the first hour, I read a couple pages and took a shower and got something to eat. So the first hour was kind of a wash, but I was just counting by the hour. So it wasn't like 4 solid hours, but
Right.
still, I thought I was going to have more time. But then Mindy came home, and then she wanted to do a bunch of shit. Wanted to go out shopping or eating or whatever the fuck we do as a couple. And I was like, okay, I'll just put Jerusalem down. Now, table broke. And I was just like, well, I'll get back to it later. And I did get back to it later for like 10 minutes. And then I did read it Sunday, but I didn't have the ability to read for 8 hours that day. I just, not in me. And it's been going hard. It's good. It's just like, goddamn, why is it so big?
I've almost thought, like after I get done with the current book that I'm reading,
Reading Jerusalem?
No, but in support of you, go back onto my Kindle and just try to see what more of the H.P. Lovecraft I could get done before the end of the year. But I was like, I don't know if I want to do that. Like,
we see who gets done first. Your H.P. Lovecraft or my Jerusalem? What are you reading now?
The Oracle Year by Charles Soule.
Man, you just went on a different road.
Yeah.
You didn't read any of the books in your to-read pile. You just started reading random books you're buying.
Well, no, this one was in the to-read pile that I got a couple months ago.
Months ago, but the ones that you got years ago are unread.
I mean, yeah, you have no room to talk.
How's Unknown Mail coming?
I told you, I think that was either going to be the next one or I was going to use that to start off the beginning of next year.
How's Benjamin Cross's Colony coming?
You shut your... How's Benjamin Cross coming?
Honestly, after this much of Jerusalem, I could probably fly through that.
Yeah.
500 pages is not a lot of a normal-sized book now that I've been reading this fucking thing. Anyway, Spencer, got a not exciting show for you today.
Yeah.
It could be exciting. I don't know.
Depends on what you're into.
What you like and what you don't like. This is going to be a reading-heavy one.
Depends on what rings your bell.
Yeah, not reading heavy, writing heavy. This was the reading portion. Now we will go into the writing portion. So
the shitty portion.
Yeah, shitty portion. Space music and all that, dude. That's not space music. Well, that's like almost Twilight Zone. You have now entered the DPW zone. That's like boner music. No, it's supposed to be the Twilight Zone music that we ended the last... You know what? Forget it. Forget it. I am your host. What's my name?
I don't know.
I'm old now.
I forget things.
It's my birthday today as we record this, and I'm elderly. I don't remember. My name is Caleb James. And with me today, Spencer, the Norwegian Ninny Church.
At least you haven't got old enough yet to where you just randomly start to whistle when you talk.
Yes, I wouldn't want to whistle like So, Spencer, I said we would do a brainstorming episode today. So this is my birthday, and we can do what I want.
All right. And yet we still just decided to do this.
Well, the brainstorming, I just, I don't know. I just didn't feel like coming up with an idea for the episode because it's my birthday.
Well, I meant just the recording anyways, because it's my birthday. We'll do what I want. So I'm going to record an episode of my podcast.
Yeah, but then I won't have to do it on the week when I'm actually doing stuff.
Yeah.
Fun, like reading Jerusalem for 8 more hours. Guess how I'm spending my Saturday?
Oh.
Oh, Spencer. Okay. Oh, Jesus. This has gotten to multiple pages, has it?
I like how the notebook you have over there is like, it reminds me of those cheap notebooks you'd get at school for to write your definitions in and stuff like that.
Yes. For those who can't see, this is actually Japanese notebook. Midori, I believe, is the name of the company, and they specialize in cheap, just completely blank notebook. Well, I mean, this is lined,
Yeah,
but it doesn't have a cover. Like this is
what kind of
it's thick.
reminded me of that, because the only thing on those things were just a notebook on it was the only thing.
Like the cover is thick, but it's just white, and it has you could see the binding, and you could even see where the little what do they call that? It's not a rope, band, ribbon, where the ribbon attaches. But they're pretty cool, and like I said, I think they're only $10 for these or something, which is good because I've been using these for my more experimental writings. That way I don't have to use a $25 fucking Moleskine or something. So you know what we are brainstorming today? I found it was actually in one of the old one of the old literary journals I had here. It's called Pop Shots. I showed you. It was a very colorful one. Yeah. It had cool stuff. Well, apparently they're doing a submission period now, and I think it's due December 2nd, and the theme is heart. And I already started this story, and I was only a couple paragraphs in, if that, and I was like, hey, I can turn this into the heart story. It didn't specify what that means. And you could go very gross with it, very horror, very Clive Barker, but I don't think that's the kind of publication that would accept that.
I think you should just write, a short story about Brett the Hitman Hart. I mean, just
I completely misread. Yeah. I thought it was Heart, H-A-R-T.
Yeah.
And why is it erotica? Don't worry about it. I know I spent a lot of time on Greg the Hammer Valentine, but trust me, it gets better.
Yeah.
There's a lot of sharpshooters involved in sexual ways. It's a good read. No, that would be for a different anthology or, magazine, I would imagine. But anyway, Spencer, I am at a loss for where this story needs to go. I have no idea. I didn't know where it was going when I was writing it. I don't even know what made me start this story, honestly. Probably one of those things, I had a very vague image of a scene, and then I just started to extrapolate off of that, and it just how those go. They never go anywhere.
Nope.
But that's also perfect for literary magazine, because most of their stories don't go anywhere. It's all about feelings, and if the thing's heart, then I can do that. So I'm going to read. I only have a couple pages written so far.
Okay.
I'll read what I have now, and we're not critiquing any overwriting, any awful metaphors used, or poor word choices, or shit grammar. We're not going to be critiquing that stuff, because this is the very first draft that I haven't even read it over yet, because it's not finished. It's only a couple pages long. So we don't have to worry about that. I'm just going to give you what I have as the story so far, and then we're going to go from there. Because I have a couple ideas, but I don't like them.
Okay.
And remember, this is for a literary magazine, so it's supposed to be more of a
dry and dull,
pointless descriptions kind of thing, I like to add those in my stories, but not go on and on with them. So there are some of those that are longer in this that I probably would cut out anyway. I'm assuming, like I said, I haven't reread this. And I can already see I used the word dessert instead of desert. I think. No, I did it right. It's for deserted. I was about to say, Jesus. Oh, and I don't have a name for this story either. But now it's got to be something. I'm thinking, I can't get Bret Hitman Hart off my mind.
Right?
I can't get past it.
Right?
I can't get past it. I got Bret Hart on the mind now. Fucking jerk. The Hitman.
The best there is, there was, and never will be.
Breaking the Hitman's heart.
There you go.
Give you the real Montreal. I can't even say it. Montreal screw job. I feel like I need to be wearing a nice robe, like a leather. Ooh,
a leather robe,
leather, like a duster. That'd be fucking uncomfortable.
So you can tell somebody's been watching too much Always Sunny in Philadelphia.
Yeah, way too much. All right, so here we go. And this might be hard because it's my handwriting. Yeah. I wrote this by hand. It's not off the computer, folks. It was a lonesome night. Winter hadn't officially arrived, but its cold sigh eased through the quiet streets, tipping the tops of lamp posts with frost and glazing over car windows with an icy kiss. An odd quiet had settled upon the city, the kind of quiet that made a person forget they were among the living, though what use was there being among the living anyway? Adam Alcott asked himself that as he walked down the deserted sidewalk. And why shouldn't he feel this way? He had left a party where the punchline of every joke seemed to land on him, every laugh at and not with him. Now he was forced to walk home because his ride left early with a young woman who Adam had spent most of the evening wooing. And it was going well, or so it had seemed. Some way or another, her mood had soured on him, and with it, the night turned rotten. Try as he might, he couldn't get the bitter taste of it out of his mouth. Crystal specks danced beneath the street lights like falling stars lost in the cosmos. Had Adam not been so absorbed in his recent misfortunes, he would have made a mental note of the scene. It would have been perfect for his work as a manga artist, especially since his current project featured a protagonist dealing with the isolation of the heart, not too dissimilar to how Adam felt now. See, that's like too on the nose now with the isolation of the heart, but I actually think I wrote that before I found the submission.
Oh, so you already started this.
That's why I said it was. Yeah, I already started this, and then I was like, oh, I'll just rework it for the whatever piece. He popped the heavy collars of his pea coat to fend off the sporadic wind that stung his bare face. His ruddy cheeks and sandy blonde hair already made him look much younger than his age, so the oversized coat only added to his woes. These were the opening jokes made at his expense when he first arrived at the party. Walking along, ruminating over how the party unfolded and not paying attention to his surroundings, Adam stepped into the road to cross the street. A car horn blared, accompanied by screeching tires and the scent of burnt rubber. He fell backward, landing hard on the curb. Pain shot through his backside and up to his neck, ending with a snap of his teeth clanking together. Adam rubbed his jaw and looked up in a stupor. The door of an old cutlass flung open and a woman stumbled out and tripped to the concrete. A whirlwind of expletives erupted from inside the car. Then the vehicle sped away, roaring down the street in a mad fury, and finally it rounded a corner where it disappeared into a neighborhood. The sound of its exhaust growled long into the night. Before Adam had his wits about him, the woman had already scraped herself off the street and was smoothing out her black skirt. There was an angry, determined look on her face. So mesmerized he was by the sight, Adam didn't even notice that he was looking up at her from the ground. Everything was happening too fast to think. The woman searched the immediate area in a frantic rush, walking back and forth along the same stretch of curb. Seriously, she shouted at the empty street. This can't be happening. Adam watched in awe as this petite woman crossed the street, trotting along the curb on the other side. Her high heels clattered, clattered, clattered like horse hooves on cobblestone. Steam plumed from her nostrils in a mad, uneven rhythm. As intrigued as the scene made him, a part of Adam hoped the wild mare wouldn't see him. Though most women never saw him, never truly saw him anyway. They only saw him like one sees through a dirty window, wishing it was clean so they didn't have to strain their eyes to see what they were really looking for. Adam felt he would always be the thick buildup of dust that nobody wanted to wipe off themselves. Hey! The sudden yell shattered his glass pane of introspection. Fiery eyes glared down at him. The orange glow of the streetlights masked the woman's face in shadow, but filled her eyes with Titanian madness. So that's all I got. So we have a scene where the guy's on the ground. I'm kind of giving that he's kind of a pathetic loser, or at least that's how he feels about himself. It doesn't mean he's actually a pathetic loser. And he's as of now, it seems I have him as a budding manga artist. He wants to, draw pretty much comics. He was just walking home, ruminating over how shitty the party went and how he's rejected once again, when a woman appears to be forced out of the car from an angry boyfriend, you assume, and she is looking for her phone, which didn't fall out. I'm assuming it's probably going to still be in the car, but she thought maybe it fell out. She's looking for it, and now you have this underdressed woman in the very cold weather, and then I was going to have it where eventually he gives her his coat, and then I was going to have her kind of rebuff him, and then I didn't know where I'm going from there. I don't know what kind of story I want to tell. At first, I was just going to have it before I was going with the whole heart theme, it was just going to be him walking down the street, and maybe he just keeps encountering weird people, and it would just be not an adventure, but something like that. But now with the woman involved, I feel like there's got to be something there.
Well, as you were reading that, I was thinking as he was walking, he should bump into a lady at a park or on the street or something. That was immediately where my mind was going, and so you kind of did that already. Well, first, is there like a word count? Like,
I want to say it's like 2,000, so it's fairly short.
Yeah, so
I can't really tell a full beginning, middle, and end story with where it's going, but those kind of, especially that magazine from what I've read, that's not what they go for generally.
Right, yeah.
So I don't have to actually worry about that. Like I said, it's more about like the feelings and the characteristics of the people.
Yeah.
And you have to get like, you know, the inner thoughts and that kind of stuff is what they normally go for with the literary stuff. But like I wanted the theme is kind of like not just isolation and rejection, but just like how the way you feel about yourself kind of projects onto other people how they feel about you.
Mm-hmm.
So if this guy just feels like he never really has a shot, then he's just going to assume that's how the other people feel about him, thus just, you know, fulfilling that and making it so he doesn't have a shot.
Yeah.
But because this woman, you know, is tossed out of the car, maybe she's going to be a little tipsy. She's obviously very pissed off.
Yeah.
And he's not expecting this at all. Like I had the line about he didn't even realize he's on the ground looking up at her because everything was happening so fast. So I want it to be like he's caught off guard and can't be stuck in his own thoughts just yet. He can't overthink things just yet because it's happening so fast that he might actually be genuine in just how he converses with this person for at least a minute, you know? And maybe he can show her his true self for at least a moment, and it's going to go terribly for the fact that she doesn't want that at all. Yeah. Like, she's in a shit mood. She's, you know, but I was going to use, like, the whole, it's so cold out, and him offering the coat. She's going to rebuff him, but, you know, it's super cold, and he's like, well, you know, can I walk you home or you don't got your phone? I was going to make it so he didn't have a phone or something. And then, like, you know, it's dangerous how maybe it's nighttime. So eventually she does take the coat, and she kind of warms up to him both literally and figuratively. And then, you know, where do I go from there, though? Like, what kind of conversation are they going to have?
Well, see, another idea popped in my head while we were just talking about this, that maybe you could have the girl, like, after a while, like, you know, he does, like, you know, when he offers the code, and maybe she's like, no at first, but he's like, no, and she eventually takes it or whatever. Maybe as like, you know, and she's finally like, well, like, yeah, okay, you can walk me home or whatever, however you want to get to that, but maybe have them, or maybe the fix to that, to why she would, is like, after a moment, they realize that maybe they went to school together
or something like that. Yeah,
you know what I mean? Like, they don't like not know each other, but it's like, oh, I've seen you in the halls or in the back of the one class or something like that.
So they search for like the most minute of connections, but just enough to feel somewhat comfortable.
Yeah,
in a very
like,
uncomfortable
situation. I went to high school with this person. I'm gonna assume that they're not gonna rape and murder me. Like, and then so maybe then what the story is, which would give you the room for the character development and stuff like that, is that like as they're walking, they're each telling each other their version of their, like, you know, like, oh, well, I ended up going to this art school, but I'm kind of getting okay grades, but I don't feel like I'm doing well, and, you know, into like the isolation, you know, like the self-isolation and stuff, and then maybe you give her a chance to talk about like how she ended up with the douche nozzle that threw her out of the truck or something. And if you go with like maybe the old high school thing, you could maybe have it was like, you know, like he wasn't like madly in love with her, but maybe he had like a tiny like crush or something on there. And even with the self-doubt, even back then, he never, you know.
Maybe she looks a lot different now than she did then, so he didn't even. Well, that'd be kind of a cliche to have her, like, you know, because I mentioned she's petite. If she was, like, overweight in school and nobody liked her, but he kind of had a crush on her. But that's been done in movies a million times. I don't want to do that. And I do want to be clear. This is not going to be a story where he just ends up with the girl.
No.
There is no ending up with anybody. That's not what the story's about. It's not actually about the girl at all.
Well, because literally the story could end at the doorstep of her building. You maybe leave it, try to do that ambiguous, like that. Maybe he did, maybe they didn't. Like, you know what I mean? That, you know, that you don't know. You know, you're not definitive either way. But like that could literally be the chunk of the story, is like him walking her home. Because I assume this is like in like a bigger city, right?
Medium size, like.
But I mean, like something.
The streets are deserted, so it can't be, you know, like Pittsburgh or something. But it's like a city where there's people around, there's houses everywhere, but like more like a suburbs kind of like,
Okay.
or even like, you know, like where we live. Like something like that. If you're walking down at 3 a.m, there's not going to be many people out.
Yeah.
Versus you go to Pittsburgh at 3 a.m, see all kinds of fucking weird shit.
But I was gonna say, but that could just be the majority of the story is them walking and kind of getting caught up on each other's lives, you know, a little bit. Because that seems like a very kind of like literary character kind of.
Well, another idea I was toying with too was I wanted to paint the picture that he wasn't he wasn't interested in this girl, at least not right away.
That if he was interested, he's like, well, what's the point? Because I know she's not going to.
Well, that would be what dawns on him once he goes back into his shell, you know, because once he realizes, oh shit, I'm talking to this girl, she's pretty, you know, I'm going to go revert back to she just hates me automatically, you know. But at first, like I said, he was so stunned about everything happening, he kind of forgets that for a moment. Because he's just coming off of being rejected at a party. Not only was he made fun of at the party, but he connected with somebody, and, you know, he felt like things were going good. Might have been only on his end, but then she ended up leaving with the guy that who brought him there.
Yeah.
So it was like a double whammy. So now he's walking home, and he's like, what the fuck? So he feels betrayed not only by his friend, but also by the girl that he thought he was wooing. And I also want to make sure I don't get this like an incel vibe, because that's kind of a hard thing to do nowadays. Like, oh, why don't the girls like me? I'm a nice guy. I don't want to do the nice guy bit, but I would like the guy just to see the girl as just a person kind of in need, and that's what he's going to help for. You know, like if you were fucking outside and you just happen to come across somebody that in that situation, you'd be like, oh shit, are you all right? Like you wouldn't think like, oh yeah, here's my chance. Like, no, that's what douchebags do. That's what fucking incels do. Like, I'm going to be the white knight and save her.
I just turn into a cartoon character and put on a big bib with the fork and knife just like,
yeah, you don't want to do that. But I do like the idea of like the doorstep thing. And it's like, okay, I take you to your door and then we part ways. And since they both don't have phones, you know, at least at the time, it's not gonna be like there's here's my number.
Maybe he has his phone, but it's dead.
It could be that. I haven't thought that through yet, but that's I hate that you always have to work phones. Either that or make the story older.
Yeah,
because I want it to be a modern story, and also you know like the manga artist thing is gonna be interesting to kind of work into it because
that's what I was wondering. That's like I was wondering if like you were like if it was gonna be like set over in Japan because
no,
yeah, I don't think you get many American manga artists. Like, you know what I mean?
Oh, that's the thing. That's why he's not successful or anything.
Yeah,
he's just but he's doing it's just his drawing style or whatever. But you could be an American manga artist. You could do whatever you want.
I mean, I don't have a problem with it. I just and again, it
just felt like it was a fucking better than the typical writer, painter, photographer trope we always get. At least that's a little more modern thing. And I didn't want to say like comic book artist because I feel like that's just like an instant shutdown in that situation. You just be like, all right, this guy's definitely a super nerd. You at least want to give him like something that elevates him a little bit.
Yeah. Or what would kind of like soften that would just say he's a cartoonist.
Man, I don't know. It sounds worse. It sounds worse to me. A cartoonist. Was he fucking? Is he Ray Dilbert? Like the cartoonist drawing that shit. But like where I'm having trouble too is like, what is the conflict gonna be though? Like, what is the drama? Just them meeting? Because that's always the problem I have with a lot of literary fiction is, what is the drama? It's always eternal drama, but how do I make this not boring?
But isn't that kind of what, like, they're looking for, though?
That's what I'm saying, but I don't want it to be boring. I don't care if I can write a story that gets accepted. I want to write a story that the reader's going to like. Because, like I said, I read a lot of stories in the one issue that I had, but I didn't like any of them.
Right.
Even the flash fiction, like, I just felt like all of them were fucking terrible, and they weren't written very well. And I'm just thinking to myself, and the reason why I want to go for this is because this is like this. They sell this in Barnes and Nobles all over the country. Like it's a known magazine. But at the same time, I'm just like, why does the story just because it's literary fiction have to be boring? Like why? I mean, you can still have like the internal drama and stuff, but why does it just have to be so dry? You know, like why does it have to be something that doesn't have any point and doesn't end? Like it just like it's over, but it doesn't have an ending of any kind. Like, I don't like stories like that just have no point of existing. Because I always ask myself this. Why is the reader reading this? Why are they interested in this? Why do they care about your characters? And if I'm writing a story where they don't care about my characters, there's nothing happening in the story, and the drama is very bland. Like, why are they reading it for? What's the point?
Well, I guess maybe you could just try to lean in more of, like it's more of like a character piece, maybe.
Yeah, that's fine. but I still need something to happen.
But then I also feel like if you want to do that, then you shouldn't be trying to write something for this magazine then. Because that's obviously not the kind of stuff that they publish.
Why not?
Because, like, and no offense, but I don't think, like, oh, there's this Caleb James, this is good, but it's completely out of the thing that we don't publish, so I don't, you know what I mean?
I've had that rejection before. Yeah, but that's where I'm at. But this story hasn't been my main focus, by the way. I'm, like, pretty good ways into my novel.
Right.
Like, that's still my focus, obviously. But I do want to get some stuff published now, so I got, like, fucking 12 submissions floating out there, but, like, only one of them is in the, in the progress state of them actually going to look at. The rest are just like, oh, got a review or whatever. I'm like, God damn it.
It's like, just reject it already.
Yeah, just, reject it or whatever you're going to do. What about you? You been hitting your story hard? Or doing something else?
No, not really. I've been able to do a little bit more writing in the notebook on, like, one of the secondary storylines, but nothing really worth any note or worth bringing up, really.
Wasn't that fucking great?
Yeah.
I just hit a random part of my novel today, though. That's very weird.
Yeah, well, isn't like the old, yeah.
I meant weird as in the writing switch that happened. So I have a scene where the guy and the lady, they end up going through this flooded tunnel, and they come out through this door, and they end up going up like the staircase, and they're in almost what would be like a Hobbit-sized room. Everything's very small, and it's just a single room with no exit other than the one they came in. There's a fire going. There's a couple of chairs that are very small in front of the fire. There's a big like bookshelves on the one wall, and then like cooking stuff on the other wall, and that's it. So it's a very small room, and there's nobody in there though, even though there's a fire going on. So I already have that planned out where that's going. But the scene I have so far is like the one guy. He starts like flipping, or like there's the books on the wall, and they're very small books, and he starts looking at them, and they're very like the first one he looks at, it's like a cloth bound book. It's very faded, but surprisingly, there's no dust or anything on it. Like somebody cleans these, but the pages are kind of yellowed. And he opens it, and he was expecting to see like, because this is set in Ireland, he was expecting to see like like ancient Irish or something like it's written in, but it's a language he doesn't even know. He's like, what the fuck? And he's looking through it, and he's like, that's crazy. Puts it back on the shelf, and he grabs, because there's a couple that are like leather bound, so he grabs the leather bound one, and then I start describing like the leather of it. It's like, oh, it's just like a deep brown, it's dull, no shine or anything like that, very worn. And then all of a sudden I just started rhyming, and then I just started like rhyming the whole sentences, and then the next sentence rhymes, and then all of a sudden I just go into like this weird forest scene where he just like sees a forest and it's all rhyming, and it's very weird. He's like, what the fuck is happening? And then it's only a paragraph long, and then he comes out of it and he's just holding the book. He's like, what the hell happened? So I just have it set up where like, because the book's completely blank inside when he's looking at it. Well, maybe it's like a magical kind of book where it just like either he saws the past or he's sent to a weird vision or something. But just like I used the rhyming device as a way, just like, wait, like catches the reader completely off guard. Because when all of a sudden, I actually wrote it by accident at first. It's like, oh, that sentence rhymed. That's kind of weird. Then I was like, you know what? Fuck it. I'm going to just go with it. See where that takes me. And then I was like, I like that though, because now he just had like this weird vision, and it like, but the reader got the clue from the rhyming, even though they might have not understood what was happening yet. And then I have another device I'm using, which I wish I would have thought when I started this, because I have like kind of like fairy folk throughout here. Like at the beginning, there's like a dwarf character, but it's going to be like one of these fairy folk. And what I'm going to do from now on, whenever one of these fairy folks come about and they're talking, they're not going to have any quotation marks in their dialogue, but just their dialogue. So because I have I have one character in here that's related to the guy that's going to turn out to be like one of the fairy folk that he doesn't realize. And I figured, oh wait, if I use that quotation device, like removing those from their dialogue, that could be a clue. Mm-hmm. So like the reader might not get it at first. They're like, why is this dwarf character doesn't have quotation marks? Probably won't think much of it. And then we get to the one, like I have a dinner scene, and then the one character that's related to the guy, like you're reading that, and it was like, there's so much going on in that scene with so many people talking, you might miss that she doesn't have quotation marks. And then you get on to the rest of it, and then you meet another fairy character, and eventually you'll catch on, like, why do none of the fairy characters have quotations? And then you'd realize, oh shit, there was clues. Some of the characters I thought were normal people were obviously fairy folk because they didn't have the quotations.
Is there a reason why they don't have quotations? Like, is it just the way that they speak, or?
Well, it'd be the way they speak, but that would just be the clue that they're not human. they're not like just the normal humans speaking. There's something else going on.
Like that makes me reminds me of something of like that because we always talk about like the different tricks you can play in different medium depending on what you're writing in. Novels is that weird thing because like in that 10th Justice, there was like the bad guy had like this mole who was like giving him information about the good guy and his group of people. There was a couple parts where you were in the scene. Rick was talking to this person, but the writer never says who it is. The bad guy never says the person's name.
Right.
So, like, as you read in it, you don't know, even if it's a male, female, who exactly it is. But, like, you couldn't do that scene in a movie.
No.
So you'd have to have the person, like, in the shadows or something dumb like that. You know what I mean?
Well, that's like the scene I have with like the fairy folk. If I was doing that, say I decided to make his brother one of the fairy folk, if he had a brother, and you wouldn't know it reading the book except for the quotation mark clues. Like, the brother doesn't have quotation marks. This is weird. Is this a fuck up? But if you did that in a movie scene, you'd have to do something else.
Yeah, you have to have some kind of visible thing.
Yeah,
or something.
they have like, their eyes are weird colored, or, when they talk, there's a weird kind of air about it or something. Like, you'd have to do something like that. That would be... It'd be tricky, but it still could work.
Yeah.
But I just like the idea of doing that, in the written form, because that's also like just the easy way to do it. And then I have a couple more interesting writing devices I'm going to use, but I'm going to save those until I actually get to them.
Right.
Because you might end up abandoning them or whatever, but especially when it comes to like the dialogue, because pretty soon I'm going to be going up with all kinds of different beings, and when I get to those, I really want to like make sure they're different. That could be fun too, because you could probably use that quotation thing too if you're writing a story with like demons. I mean, it doesn't have to be no quotation marks. It could be a lot of people, they just use like italics or just like but I figured this would be a little more unique. Yeah, but so far that the novel's going very well. I'm enjoying that. I just wish I was done with it. I feel like this is gonna be at least a 500-page book.
Yeah.
Yeah, because I'm only at like the halfway point, and I'm like 170 pages in, and I don't know. That's because you said you wrote that one thing by hand, and it was like 500 words or something. You counted.
Yeah.
And I'm like, well, shit. How many words do I got now? But I'm pretty excited for it. I think it's gonna be good, and there is a lot of heavy reworking I'm gonna do, which I'm not really looking forward to necessarily. But I find though, just because I've been editing some older stories to maybe submit them places, I find when I'm a way better rewriter. Yeah. So once I go back, like I could do whatever I want. Like that's fine. It's just like that first draft is such a slog, Because me, there's like times where it's like 4 months I'm working on one story.
Yeah. Like
a 10,000 word story or something, and then I eventually finish it. And then when I do the rewrites, it's like a day.
Mm-hmm.
So it's like, what the fuck? Even if I change and add, a significant amount of things, I fly through it. But like that first draft is all, I don't know. And it's not that I don't enjoy writing it or anything. It's just like, even if I know exactly where the story's going, it's just like the actual sitting down to write. I always have that resistance that just like, no, watch a couple more Instagram boob videos. Yeah. Like watch fucking, read some more Jerusalem. Yeah. I was like, there's so many things I talk myself into doing. And then I'm like, oh, I'll have plenty of time to write later. And then I just get tired.
Take a nap. Take a nap.
But anyway, that's about it.
Yeah. Do you think we helped at all with your your story?
I don't know. It gave me a little direction. I still don't know exactly where I want to go with it. Like I said, I don't know if I want to go with just the guy and the girl, or if I want to go with the story I originally had planned of him just meeting different characters in the streets on his way home. And but like that's that stupid heart theme.
Yeah.
Getting, And I do like the whole self-isolation, like I'm not good enough, I'm not like that kind of thing, because we all have experienced that. So I feel like I can write that well. It's just a matter of coming across genuine and also making it so like the girl doesn't seem like a bitch.
Yeah,
because it's very easy for guys to just make the woman a bitch. And it's like, no, she's not a bitch. She's just like some fucking fat guy she met in the street.
Right.
Like, some stupid manga artist with an oversized coat, some nerd. Like, she got dumped. She got thrown out of a car. She doesn't want to talk to this guy. Like, that doesn't mean she's a bitch. But anyway, folks, if you like this kind of content, and I don't know why you wouldn't, You can let us know by hitting us up on social media at DPW Podcast, Twitter, Instagram, and Facebook. And we do have an email, but I'm not telling you.
Nope.
I don't want to.
Well, I mean, at this point, I think it'd be kind of easy to figure out.
Is it, though?
I don't know. Or if you wanted to find it out, it wouldn't be that hard to get that information.
So anyway, you can also find Spencer at his OnlyFans. Spencer, what the fuck were you? The Norwegian ninny.
No.
Yeah, you were the Norwegian ninny. I can play it back.
This time, though?
Yeah.
Okay, if that's what...
What the fuck? When did you think you were the Norwegian ninny?
I thought that was a couple episodes ago.
I hope not. I don't think I got the dementia just yet.
You are getting old.
Anyway, we will catch you next week.